This is not communication. It's communion. Hundreds of thousands of people have claimed contact. That will change you. It changed me.
Lost in between two worlds and two dreams.
This was something that I kept buried for years. Strange things would happen. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore.
He came at me, and I fought for my life.
Ships started to pop up in the sky.
And there's this bizarre disk of light. And it is moving across the sky very fast.
The experience is often very terrifying.
If I felt fear, I would crawl under my covers, hoping that it would go away, whatever it was.
I know that we were put in that craft. I knew I was going to go to another planet.
And the being was right next to my face.
He saw two shadow beings. That's when I felt like I was going to die.
I had a real encounter with something. Even if I had to live with the fear, is to know the truth, is to know.
Hey, g'day everybody, and welcome to Truth Seekers. How are you all? I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend, and I'm glad you joined me tonight. Tonight I want to talk about people. I've noticed a lot of the chat online lately about disclosure. You know, I mean, quite honestly, we've got disclosure. I mean, all we've got to do now is start looking at. We've got to start looking at what questions to ask. What's the correct questions to ask? And for example, I mean, those 1,500 documents that were released, I mean, that in itself is an admission of guilt. Something that hasn't been happening for decades, you know, denial. And all of a sudden, these documents come out, and I'm sure there's a lot more there, but they don't tell him anything. It's all blanked out, ink. So obviously, they've just the fact that they have documents. I mean, if UFOs and aliens do not exist, well, what's the purpose of having documents classified top secret? I mean, how stupid do they think we are? That's the important thing, you know. How stupid do they think we are? So, at the end of the day, what do we do? We've got to ask the right questions. Why are all the words blanked out? What is it you don't want us to know? Because at the end of the day, hey, it's your right and my right. They are your servants, yeah, public servants, and they are yours. They are answerable to you, not you to them. And you shouldn't be criticized by believing what you want to believe. I mean, so where do we go? For years and years, everybody's just been kind of, turning out. I don't want to know. It's too hard. Put it in too hard basket. It's untouchable. If you believed in UFOs, your class is a nut. I mean, that's disinformation. And now in society, even within ufology, now we've got a new breed of ufologists that are making a mockery out of it, all for the mighty dollar. Totally up themselves for sure, but hey, I mean, we're all out to make a buck sometimes, but not by destroying the movement, as I say. I mean, there's got to be more, keep corporations out of it, and because corporations just want what's on the next show. What's on the next show? Produce. And I'm not interested in whistleblowers. So, sticking on track, UFOs. Well, I believe in UFOs. And I believe they are still keeping a secret. Now, most governments around the world are opening up. France, Britain, US. Unfortunately, Australian government, it's very tight-lipped. I believe there's more to it than what they're letting on with the Australian government. I think understanding our culture is you don't talk about it, don't nudge it, or go away. Well, I'm just saying it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away at all. I mean, for years, back in 1997 or something like that, NASA was going to build a spaceport up in northern Queensland. And all of a sudden, we don't hear about it. Don't hear about it at all. And all of a sudden, NASA launched a satellite from Northern Territory, for scientific studies or some bloody thing like that. But hey, we didn't know we had the facilities to actually launch missiles here, rockets into space. Kept that very quiet, didn't you? Yep, the Australian government's marvellous. They are very tight-lipped, especially when it comes to disclosure. They don't want to know anybody or anything. They'll tell you nothing. But that's just a little journey of us Australians. We're a very small movement. We haven't got the population and the punch like you guys in the United States, Great Britain, and other countries around the world. I wish I was living in South America. My God, I love to see those UFOs down there. A lot of activity. But then again, I'm all about UFOs. And, sitting down, today I spent time writing up a script for tonight. So this just gets too hard. Ripped it up and threw it in the too hard basket. Because the hard thing about getting content, you don't want to plagiaristic. You don't want to copy other people's work, You can't take photographs, copy other things for other people, That's their work, and it's not, and I don't want to produce something which everybody else has. I just want people to I'll post stuff on my site and, do all the wonderful things that everybody share, meet and greet and hello and all that. But it's not, to me, it's not thought-provoking, It's same stuff every day, year in, year out. But what we've got to start asking questions, I think, why isn't the government telling us? What's the big secret about it all? What are they afraid of? And that's something I like to know. I'm sure most of you guys out there would like to know that too. But, it's just, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, It's trying to work out what's going on. And but we've got to start working as a collective with each other and saying, look, we know all this stuff. We see it every day, Look, you turn on your internet, bang, there's something new there. There's something new. Somebody's posting stuff. I had stuff posted to me the other day, which it's all about a UFO inside a hangar, another one with dead alien bodies, and people dumping this stuff on me, And I actually spoke to a gentleman, an ex-aeronautical engineer, and he says, this UFO, what do you think? I won't mention his name. He's a well-known man, but he turned around and he said, it's the real deal, Terry. And I went, whoa, blew my mind. And it's on my page. And, so why? Well, how come these photos? So I'm a bit of a skeptic, and I'm worried. How do people in a high secure area, the security is to be so, and departmental, how in the hell did somebody get a photograph out? So I said to myself, that can't be real. It just can't be real. How could I get the photograph out to everybody else? That's got me beat. But there it is. And this person, I believe him. He's a man I think you could trust. Yeah. And he says, no, he believes it's a real deal. So that's an engineer, mate. He knows what he's talking about. And he's worked for the Skunk Works. That's all I can say. But besides all that, yeah. So we get all this new content constantly, and it's like the same old scenario, being rolled over, and then we get all this stuff thrown at us, and then we turn around and we go, well, it's easy for us to get all this stuff. Why is it so difficult for the government to put the shit together? Excuse my expression, and say, look, guys, here it is. Da-da-da. What's the scare? Are they afraid we're going to run outside with our little slingshots and go shoot at everything that moves? So, a bit like out of the War of the Worlds, Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people, religious people, are going to freak out when it happens, because all their belief systems, I'll probably feel like they'll collapse. I don't know. I mean, I just shouldn't do. If you're a strong believer of anything, shouldn't get in your way of thinking. But yeah, so as I said, I was sitting down doing my content, and what I was going to talk about, I was going to talk about USOs, underwater flying saucers, and I thought, well, how can I get some? I mean, I love to have Mr. Dent on to talk about, because he's an expert in this field. I hope one day I can get him on. But in the meantime, I'm just going to wing it. And I've got I believe, I'm starting to realize, since the ancient Greeks, from Neptune, with his trident shooting out lightning, and it goes on all right through history. Even right up to Japan, when they talk about a vessel coming out of the ocean, and all these stories and seafaring stories. Then we talk about Christopher Columbus, before he discovered America, for days on end, he was being followed by luminosities in the ocean, and of course, these luminosities end up coming out of the water and circling his ship, and his crew was so superstitious and scared, so they changed course. That's when they discovered America. But it's in a ship's log. So this has been going back a long time, a long, long time. So maybe I should talk about this a bit more. But in my opinion, look, I've got no facts behind me here. We've got the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil Triangle. Look, we've got all these different triangles around the world. Where aeroplanes and ships and everything disappears, and it's just such a vast amount of oceans. But yet we've only discovered 5%. We only know 5% of our world's oceans. We don't know what's down there. Now, all life form comes from the ocean, and walked on the land and developed and so forth. So they say. Okay. Let's look at a what if. What if a species didn't come out of the ocean and stayed where they are? What if they were already advanced enough, maybe, say, 100,000, 200,000 years more advanced than what we were as primitives, as Stone Age, before we become Homo sapiens? I mean, what happens if they had some sort of intelligence back in those millions of years ago? And then as we started walking the earth, they actually progressed. Their civilization grew. And what's to say, and that we're not the most intelligent species on this planet? If you looked at an octopus or a dolphin, and you'll look at the eyes of an octopus, they've got the almond-shaped eyes, very much so as grey aliens. You look at a dolphin, they've got nice almond-shaped eyes, dark eyes, and grey skin. And it goes on. Same with whales. And dolphins are quite an intelligent mammal, believe it or not. And they don't seem to be scared of man for some reason. And it's like they've got a connection. It's like a connection to an intelligent species. That's probably why the fear factor's not in their blood, because they're so used to being around advanced, more civilizations more advanced than themselves. And then we talk about alien abductions, people being abducted by aliens, and they prod us, do the old derriere, and had to put that one in. And but then they take blood samples and they do all these things, put implants in them. But hold it, don't we do the same to subprimates? I mean, don't we kind of take them out their habitat, bag them, tag them, take scraping, stabbing, put tracking devices on them, and send them back into their habitat? Yeah, I mean, we do it. We do it all the time. I mean, not just with gorillas and monkeys and whatever. We do it with dolphins and certain species. We track them. But I wonder what they would say when they get back to the fold and they say, "Hey, I got abducted by these people with very little hair on their body." I just imagine what a gorilla would say to another gorilla. I tell you, bit of humour, guys. But at the end of the day, now that answers a lot of questions to me, especially during the Second World War, when everybody was trying to blow each other up, and of course bomber planes are going from one country to another, and they had these Foo Fighters, and Foo Fighters are whizzing around them and doing all these things. The Allies believe it was German's secret weapon, and the Nazis believe it was the Allies' secret weapon, but at the end of the day, it wasn't. But let's kind of look at another perspective. Imagine a whale. A whale can communicate with another whale from different ends of the pole of the earth, from the North Pole to the South Pole. They can talk to each other in song. Imagine a species that lives under the ocean. Sound travels underwater. And just imagine all they can hear is the vibrations of boom, 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 of war going on. Now imagine this intelligent species. They're going to say, look, we've got to check this out, We've really got to check this out. And this is just my opinion, It doesn't make it right. It's just a story. And just a story I'm going down. I think you can tell where I'm coming from. Anyway, so okay, well, right through the period of time, you had these Foo Fighters, and all of a sudden, you had the Americans dropped the bombs on Japan. Well, hello. Imagine the aliens down there basically, what the hell was that? Then they get their reports back and say, those kids up there playing with matches, they're, what's going on? Now, and I keep mentioning this all the time because when I always have discussion, I always seem to come back to this point of, since 1947, there's over 2,200 nuclear thermal bombs detonated in our atmosphere and in the oceans. That's a lot. Don't believe me? I always tell you, don't believe me? Google it. It'll tell you exactly the numbers. And can you imagine the detonations in the ocean? The sound shockwaves that was sent out to everybody around the world. I mean, it actually destroyed islands. And most of all, it destroyed seagrass, sea species, and not to mention sailors that was witnessing these tests were bombarded with radiation, which nobody wants to take responsibility of, all for the sake of advancement in technology. Woo. Okay. Now, brings us to another point. Why all of a sudden, after nuclear weapons detonating, all these nuclear facilities were being visited by UFOs? They were shutting down these facilities. They're telling us, stop it, because it's their planet too. Let's forget about alien bases beneath. You can call them alien bases you want, but I reckon they've been around a lot longer than we have, put it that way. call themselves guardians or whatever. I don't know. They could be like zookeepers, as far as I know. But yeah, and the same thing happens in Russia. The same thing happens all over the place. And I don't know. There's some of these people. It makes me wonder what they're. Why aren't they acknowledging what? Now that this issue is, why do we know more about the moon's surface, and why do we know more about the surface of Mars than our own planet, our own oceans? And why are modern ships, with all their modern technology, GPSs and guidance, are still traveling on the trade winds? Why aren't they crossing these vast distances? Why? Is it like there's a no go zone type thing, What it makes me wonder. Just makes me wonder. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. It is a very difficult one. But there's more to it than what meets the eye. It really is. And I think it's about time we start asking, because I read stories here about alien underwater bases, USOs, and it's also too UFOs travel at 250 knots an hour underwater. Our top class submarines only travel about 47 knots, and I don't believe they're a threat. And the narrative the media's putting out, the alien threat. There's no alien threat whatsoever, mate. It would have been checkmate a long time ago if it was. That's for sure. They just don't want us to know. Maybe the 1%ers up there, they just don't want us to know. And I do believe we have technologies. But the sad thing about technologies is, and I'll keep repeating this, why do they have to weaponize it? Why do they have to weaponize it? And that's a call for me, but I'm not answering it. But why do they have to weaponize it? And that's what I'd like to know. But again, people got to start asking the right questions. We know, look, they've already admitted the fact that UFOs exist. I mean, they're not going to make it say, they're not going to say, oh, yes, we know this and they are aliens. But if they say that, well, so what else do you know? They don't want to be caught in that trap. But remember, the documents exist. It makes a difference how much you black them out. It makes a difference how you put all the black ink on it as you want. It's an admittance of guilt. It's a fact. They've got a record of it all. And it's, hey, you only know, you're not even touching the tip of the iceberg on this yet. So they'd rather waste your money, your taxpayers' money, to debate this as long as they can. Now you say, oh, but national security. Well, what's national security? Are we going to go into an alien interplanetary war? Oh, come on. Oh, mate. Unless we do have the Space Force. Well, actually, we do have a Space Force now, don't we? But do we have things which they're not talking about? That's another interesting thing too. I'm just having another cuppa. Do you realise what time it is here? The time here in Perth, Western Australia, is now 4:35 in the morning. So, and here I am trying to talk to you guys, and I've got no one talking to me, and got no messages, nothing. So, unfortunately, I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing at all, and I'm the only person. But then again, hopefully it goes out and stream. And listen, if you watch this show, don't forget to tickle that little button down there and subscribe. Hey, just a little tickle. That's all it takes. Just say like and subscribe. And as this show keeps going and move forward, the better I hope, and the content will get far better, because I will be coming on doing it like this regularly. But the good stuff will be recorded, and you can watch it at your own leisure. I've got to get my material together. But then again, I've got people saying, look, Terry, you got your studio together, Mr. B. And then my name is Terry, by the way, but hey, everybody calls me B. Yeah, all men are Bs. God, I had to say that. But anyway, not really. We're all nice guys. But it's a wonderful experience. It's not easy sitting here at the computer doing a podcast and you don't know who's there, whatever. I mean, it'd be fun when I have somebody to yak with in conversation. Actually, I was talking to a good friend of mine this evening. Lovely man. an author, public speaker, Mr. Philip Kinsella, beautiful man, wonderful man, and yeah, we just talked about it, and he's gonna come on the show one day, and we're gonna have a candid chat and relax back, what's called coffee break with him, for everybody to join in, and probably Q&As as well. So that's going to be good fun, and get as many people on board as possible that to have a bit of fun with. But and look, I would like you guys now, when you got time. Now, if you're watching this on the record later on, write this down: to be truth seeker at gmail.com. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your story that made you a believer. I want to hear your ghost stories. I want to hear your encounters, UFO sightings. I want to hear it all. And I want you to share it with me, because I will bring these up on the show. And I won't necessarily mention names unless you specifically say, don't mention my name. I won't mention your name at all. I'll give you a number if you want. You know who I'm talking about. But and look, any email will be kept confidentially to me only. It won't be given out to anybody. I don't know anybody to give it out to any. So, but yeah, drop me a line at to be truth seeker at gmail.com. Tell me your story. I want to hear. And look, I can. Hey, it helps me do some homework as well and give me direction to kind of bring in some new material. It'd be great, because I want to hear about Bigfoot. I want to hear about ghosts. I want to hear about abductions, UFOs, you name it, mate. As an experience to myself, I have been abducted. I have had UFO experiences. There's only so much I can go into, but hey, this is not about my stories. This is your show. Hey, I'm part of it. That's all. Hey, I'm just a tool. Everybody knows I'm a tool, but then again, goes with a hat. Grumpy old man. But nah, but it's all for fun, mate. It's all for fun, guys. I mean, I'm getting used to it. I'm a lot better than what I was on the last show. First show I had to tell you, mate, I was lost. Oh God, it drove me mad. And it would have been better if Mrs. B was with me. But I was actually thinking of getting my son to come and work with me on this one. Well, instead of me being Mr. B, we can call him a son of a bee. Come on, got to have a laugh at that one. But I thought it was funny when I put about it in the first place. So who knows? Who cares? Anyway, but listen, I want you to join me every time I come on, whenever you can. I want you to show your face, but I'm having a lot of problem getting these. If anybody's watching, I don't think anybody's watching. I'm clicking on the comments, no comments whatsoever. And it's really awful. Nothing there whatsoever. Can't see anything. That's terrible. Never mind. Yeah, well, maybe I'll get some sarcastic comment coming to me tomorrow when I wake up. Saying, "What the hell are you doing, Terry? What are you doing, B?" Whatever they want to call me. As long as I'm never late for dinner, that's the important thing. But no. But what are you into, guys? That's what I like to know. What are you into? I mean, I love watching some of these documentaries and on my favorite, besides UFOs, and I like looking at things like ancient technologies, ancient alien type things. The Eric von Däniken stuff, mate. Hey, that's gritty. That's really gritty, And I like the part where it says Eric von Däniken had one of his books, and it says that in the Bible it says, when the gods descended to earth in fiery chariots, and they landed upon earth on fours, and as they moved across the land, wheels turned within wheels. At the end of the day, it really doesn't sound very angelic to me. I don't know about you guys, but it sounds like they actually described a UFO. Now, of course, in those days, anything that carried a person was called a chariot, so just a different name, a transport or whatever. But anyway, I do like ancient Egyptian stuff. Actually, and I love look in our modern day. I mean, I come across anything Egyptian, and I just go, ooh, I'm in awe. I love it, especially with their hieroglyphs. How beautifully it's set out, and it's so artistic, poetic. It's gorgeous. And in our society, all we've got is bloody graffiti. Graffiti. That's all we get. No one does anything decent whatsoever. We just get graffiti. But yeah, we call them ancients, but I think those ancients were more advanced than us culturally, to be honest. You know, um, a rich culture indeed. And, I was read something today about one of the ancient pharaohs, about Ra, and it's described it. When I love to copy it because if I copy it and post it, I'll be plagiaristic. We shouldn't be showing other people's work, but apparently the translation of this hieroglyphs turned around and said, Ra traveling across the sky in an iron ship. The word was iron. So they depicted what's this iron ship, dropping meteorites to the ground. Okay. Hello. I thought in Egypt in those days were bronze days. Okay? But I just noticed a bit of a contradiction within that story. And then when that dropping meteorites to the ground, it reminds me of some of those videos that's floating around the internet at the moment, where a flying saucer suddenly drops a ball, a sphere, solid sphere, and it hits the ground, and they've got them all around Europe and different countries. They fall from the sky, They're dropping the things like doing a dump. Poof! These UFOs dumping all their crap there in spheres. But it's interesting that how I can relate that with some of these Egyptian stories. And here's something interesting too. I mean, you've got to look between the lines. When I was in Egypt many years ago, I went to the Cairo Museum, and as I was looking at the artifacts in there, I noticed these weapons. They had their weapons, a glass cabinet with these Egyptian weapons. And one thing that made me think, they had a boomerang in there. Boomerang, which is Australian Aboriginals use boomerangs. I've never known any other culture to use boomerangs, but here it is in this case. Okay, so obviously the Egyptians used boomerangs. Now, here we go again. Some years back, in a place called Newcastle, New South Wales, they found a cave. And inside this cave was hieroglyphs. Now, they're wanting to rip through this land and for development, but apparently somebody says, no, you can't do it because of these Egyptian hieroglyphs. The New South Wales University said it's fake. No, that's a scam. No, just trying to. The builders got their own experts in saying it was fake, but somebody ended up getting the Cairo Museum involved, and they spent their experts out, and they actually done some scrapings within the hieroglyphs and got the moss and all the bacteria out of it, and they dated it back something like about 10 or 15,000 years. Google it. Don't just take my word for it. Google it. I say Google it because, hey, if I say something, you might think I'm misinformation, but it's all there. Google's got everything. I mean, hey, if the government's going to hang themselves, they'll hang themselves with Google. They can try to hide all they want, but you've got to look at how things can contradict. So I believe even in America, Grand Canyon, they reckon the Egyptians been there as well because I believe they're supposed to have found artifacts there and caves in the Grand Canyon. I don't know. But hey, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So somebody's texting me a lot. I can't see anybody on my streaming area here. Well, never mind. I'm not going to waste my time looking at all that, like I did last time, wondering who's looking at me and who's not looking at me. That's the thing. But I'll just have a quick look while I'm here. And I've got a lot of hits coming on my bloody phone here. Why is that? I'm asking myself. So, but yes, just bear with me. Okay. Everybody's sending me a attachment. check your chat room. Yeah, well, I am trying to check my chat room, Doc. But guess what? It's not opening on me. Why is that, mate? Why is that? I'm clicking on the comments. Boom, nothing's happening, mate. I'm checking it, totally checking it. God, please let me see. But I don't. Oh, never mind. What's happening to me? Something's wrong with this chat room. Doc, I hope you're listening. Hey, Doc Skinner, top show. Hey, you've got to go. The Doc Force. Everybody go and watch the Doc Force. He puts on a great show. Has great guests on as well. Excuse me. And I'm just chin wagging away there. And I wish I could see every. Oh, what's this? Private chat. I can't see nothing. Not in private chat. And I'm going up to comments. I can't see no comments. And go show. No, okay, show. Oh, I got StreamYard coming up. Nothing happening here. So nothing's happening there, Doc. Don't tell me what's wrong. I might have to get in touch with StreamYard, mate, and see what they can do to help fix this problem. What's it? Can't. Okay, what's that? See more. Oh, well, hello. What's this? Yeah, I'm going to all these platforms. That's fine, but unfortunately, I can't see no chat at the moment. Never mind. Who's this? Doc. We can work on it after the show. Okay, thanks, Doc. Much appreciated, buddy. I hope you're enjoying it, mate. I'm just waffling along, doing my best. Hey, I like my view though. Hello, everybody. The sun's shining down there, believe it or not, and hey, it looks like fine weather as well. Hey, just to let you know, guy, my intro to the show was actually made by Doc Skinner. Doc Skinner, he put it all together for me. And he's been so supportive. Yeah, look, everybody in the industry has been so supportive, and it's been great. Really has been. But anyway, it's all going to get better as I get more experienced. And at least I know people are watching. I know Doc is, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, I think it's time for me to go. I've actually burnt your ears enough so far. And from me to you, from my heart to yours. And look, I want you guys to aspire to inspire each other. Be your very best and be kind. Because Mr. B says, be kind. And hey, see you again soon. Because I'm pretty sure it must be kind of music time by now. And it's time to really start phasing out. And listen, you guys, you have a bloody great time. And come back again and see Mr. B. And Mr. B is going to give you an ear bashing. Okay, get to that, guys. Have fun.